The Lord teaches, and it is if He didn't teach, because we don't pay attention to Him. In the catastrophic collapse of moral theology, of what underlies it, which is faith in eternal life, and the righteous conscience, we have come to consider that whatever we do, it's all the same. A mistaken concept of the goodness of God has swept away, has completely suppressed judgment. Everyone, whatever he does, is going to be saved. The consequences are always paid by the same people, the weak who have not been born, the weak who are victims of injustice, or the weak, the poor, who don't have enough to eat. By suppressing judgment, mistakenly believing that God's love is a love that does not judge, and it is a love that, whatever you do, will grant you the promised paradise, even ending up losing faith in such paradise, victims are left totally unprotected on earth. The Lord insists again and again that there is eternal life, and that there is a judgment. It's not a joke, and that you have opportunities while you live, and then afterwards, as today's parable says, after an abyss opens up that no one can cross. Among the things that will constitute the material of the judgment is charity. It is very interesting how Jesus suggested the obligation of charity. First, He presents as an obligation of which we will be judged. Then, He suggested, not as something that implies giving up everything you have, but as something that leads you to be generous until it hurts. For example, when the Lord speaks of the final judgment, He says He will place some at His right and some at His left hand. He will say to those on His right hand, "Come, you blessed of my Father, for I have been hungry and you have fed me." They will say to Him, "When? When you did it to the least little one." The others will say, "Go away, you scared, for I was hungry and you did not feed me." When? When you had not fed the least of this. The Lord doesn't say that you have to feed with everything you have, but with something. When He speaks of the parable of the Good Samaritan, which is the gospel of charity, He does not say that the Good Samaritan left everything he had to help that man who was badly wooden in the road. He says that he gave part of his good to pay the inn and to pay for medicine he needed. In today's gospel, in this parable, the rich man, who is traditionally known as an Apollon, but in the gospel, it does not say the name. The anonymous rich man is not punished by God because he was rich. He is punished by God because he did not have compassion for the poor. God does not reproach him for his wealth. He reproaches him for his lack of charity. A lack of charity not towards distant strangers, but towards the one who was at the door of his house. The Good Samaritan has compassion for the one he meets on the road. He is the one next to you, not only him, but starting with him. And that is a duty. It's not an option. There is a judgment. If we were aware of this, surely we could be much more generous with alms. We could not spend so much on superfluous things, but also surely it will be easier for the Lord to take us to heaven. But, I repeat, this catastrophe of the collapse of conscience, of the collapse of moral theology, of the refusal of so many priests to speak of eternal life, of judgment, this widespread heresy that everyone will be saved no matter what they do. This is hurting the weak, the poor, the victims. It's okay if you beat your wife. God is so good. It's okay if you kill your children. God is so good. It is okay if you don't help the people who are hungry. God is so good. Is God not also the father of your wife, of the aborted children, of the poor who died of starving while you squirt? Or He's only your father who allows you to exploit it, violent, selfish? What kind of God do you believe in? That is not Jesus Christ God. God is really good. He really is good to you. And also to the one who is hungry. Also with the unborn child. He loves you very much, but He also loved your victims of affection or omission. So, let us take these things seriously. St. Paul, when he asked for alms in the communities he was forming, the Philippians, the Thessalonians, even the Corinthians, the Ephesians, he was not saying that they had to go without anything to help the poor of Jerusalem. He was explicitly saying that for what they had left over, others could be fed. The church never condemned private property, but always said that there was a social mortgage on the private property. We are talking about that which is legitimately accurate, let alone that which is the fruit of corruption or theft. It is your duty. It's not your option. It's your duty to help people who suffer to the extent of your possibilities, but it's your duty. We will be judged for our charity. If we are not capable of understanding this, it is because we have distorted Christianity so that we have turned it into an unbearable, indigestible mollusk that makes everyone happy doing whatever they want. But, I repeat, there are always victims. There are the poor, the suffering, the innocents. May the Lord touch our heart to make us aware of those Lazarus who are at the door of our house and who have nothing to eat while we squared. So be it.